is time to welcome CA Girish Chand in our studios. Now, heading the MCA Gulf Compliance Practice covering corporate tax, VAT, ESR, AML, UBO across UAE, Bahrain, Oman and KSA, conducted various compliance seminars on corporate tax, VAT and ESR for large companies, professional bodies, industry groups and authorities. Regulator contributor to UAE newspapers on tax topic. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the show, I must say.
I know. It's always a pleasure to interact with both Real and you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. So, आज हम बात कर रहे हैं about VAT audit, and there have been some updates on it, is it?
Yeah, because what happened was VAT is primarily a self-assessment kind of, returns are all self-assessment.
Okay. Right.
So far, right from 2018 till now, okay, effectively most of the companies have been doing a self-assessment. Means that they have been filing their returns themselves.
Correct.
Right. But there is a proviso for VAT audit. Okay, and that's something which is kind of getting exercised now. Okay, so a lot of the entities have in the recent past got notices for VAT audit.
And externally they have to do it by a company outside, or?
No, this is something which is conducted by the Federal Tax Authority themselves.
So they will select which outlet they must be producing their documents to?
Sure. Yeah, they would select right now. So generally the interaction so far has been for entities who have been filing for refund, and some might be some extreme cases of non-compliances as such.
Okay.
So
right, but a regular kind of an audit, which possibly you're kind of used to in other jurisdictions.
Right.
And that's something which has not been happening. Okay, but effectively there is something called a statute period. Okay. So within 5 years, that's supposed to happen.
So they will actually
start penalizing
from
now.
2018. You have to keep all the reports ready, and now when the audit happens, you should be ready with all documents.
So failure to comply with the same would incur a fine of
varied penalties. So it could basically go up to 3 times the tax amount.
Whoa.
Right. If there are evasions, there could be even criminal prosecutions. Okay, that's of the real worst kind of kind of evasions as such.
Right. So when you're talking about documents,
we'll come to all of that, but पहले शुरू करते हैं कि VAT audit क्या है and who can conduct it.
Yeah. So like I was saying earlier, VAT audit is basically an inspection of your records, right?
By FTA.
Yeah. So it's like we have been a very diligent student, okay, filing your returns.
Right.
So it is once in 5 years, or actually within the period of 5 years, they can come and inspect your records.
Right.
Okay, to ensure that are you filing correctly, is the tax being paid correctly, right? Are you complying with all the regulations? So for that.
So as of now, you think that this is happening with the companies which are, identified by FTA? Is there a specific criteria how they have done it, or you think it could happen with anyone?
Of course, we are not privy to how FTA does it as such, right? So generally, I think when you talk about audits, it is always will be based on a risk assessment by the authority.
Right. So when can these audits be conducted?
Okay.
Within 5 years.
So yeah, I think it's a good question. Maybe little elaboration is required. Okay, so basically it is comes as a statute of limitation, right? So it can be conducted at any time within 5 years from the end of the tax period.
Okay.
So effectively, when you look at today, I think the first tax period has possibly expired, Jan to March of 2018.
Yeah.
If you have not received the notices.
Okay.
Like I said, quite a few of the companies have received notices. So it is each tax period that it will apply.
Okay.
Now, this is for normal cases, right? If there is a case of a tax evasion, right, then that period is actually 15 years.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not 5 years. So if you think that I will never, register, I never file a tax return, right, there is a 15 years time bomb which can tick.
Nice. And where can this audit be conducted?
So this audit can be basically, generally they either can do it from their premises, okay, or basically they can come to the premises of the organization, right. In certain cases they can come for inspections, okay, and in certain extreme cases they can do some surprise inspections also.
Okay.
So the next question that the small businesses would want to know: if I'm a small-time business and yes, I know I have to register for VAT and everything, but I'm trying to evade and I'm trying to get hold of that cash and trying to pocket that money, how will the government take notice of such a small entity?
So varied cases, right? Like they say, I think in Hindi they say, "Kanun ke haath lambe hote hain." Right? So basically, you could have you could live in that ignorance that you will not be caught. Okay.
Right.
But just let's remember that is a 15 years, which is a cycle of 3-5 years. Okay. So it is little unlikely that for 15 years you might not come under the
Radar, right? Yeah. Now coming to audit, what are the factors that determine the scheduling of the audit?
So primarily, I think the idea there is that they want to maintain the integrity of the tax system.
Correct.
Okay, that means that if somebody who is supposed to be registered, right, is he registering? Somebody who is supposed to pay an X amount of tax, is he paying? Right, and if there are any kind of basically evasions which are happening, so they want to kind of basically look at those.
Okay.
So the scheduling is entirely dependent upon, like I say, the risk assessment that is conducted by the authority.
And the information, what kind of information would be required to provide during the VAT audit? All information?
Yeah. So I think today what happens is that people think that VAT return is filing 10 numbers. Okay, it's very simple. There are 10 columns to be filled up, right? But there is a lot of background to that whole, the 10 numbers. It's effectively a summary of saying what is your output tax, what is your input tax, what are the imports, right? So now when they come for the audit, right, they would basically look at it right from the start. Okay, so whether primarily do you have any policy or procedures in terms of how the VAT has to be done?
Okay.
Right. Also those 10 numbers, they will ask the details at a transactional level.
Okay.
Okay. So whatever, if you're saying that my output tax is 100,
Yeah.
How did you come to 100?
how did you come to 100? So at a transactional level, you need to buy invoice, you have to give the details.
Okay.
Right. So that's something.
So it's a time consuming. What it will take 10 days audit? 5 days?
No, the audit basically could extend easily a period of about 1 to 2 months.
Okay.
Because the one
Depending
is
on the size of business?
size of business, again the information goes, they review it, they come back with queries, so it goes back and forth.
एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ऑडिट के दौरान और क्या क्या इंस्पेक्शन किया जाएगा ये हम जानेंगे राइट आफ्टर दिस. बट आपके कोई सवाल है तो 800-81003 पे फोन कीजिए या व्हाट्सएप 0586861003. दिस इज टॉक कंप्लायंस ब्रॉट टू यू बाय टैली सॉल्यूशंस. टैली सॉल्यूशंस का एमएसएमई ऑनर्स के बारे में आपको जानना है तो लॉग ऑन कीजिए tallysolutions.com पे.
Talk 100.3.
Welcome to Daybreak with Vivek Sanal and myself, Muralisa. Still in conversation with CA Girish Chand. Today we're talking about VAT audit and everything related to the subject.
तो VAT जो है ऑडिट अब शुरू हो जाएंगे. सो इट इज टाइम टू गियर अप फॉर ऑल द कंपनीज इन अ नटशेल.
Absolutely. So the question that we're asking,
आप ही आंसर दे रहे हैं, आप ही सीए गिरीश.
नहीं, मैं आपको एक्चुअली इनफैक्ट मैं गिरीश जी को ये पूछने वाली थी. There's a story that has just come in, says it's talking about the new UAE VAT rule. E-commerce businesses with 100 million dirhams in sales to specify emirate where order is delivered.
Yeah, so this is basically they put that limit of 100 million. Let's remember that whenever we are filing the VAT return, right, for the output tax, there is an emirate level information to be mentioned. Okay, why the emirate level information is to be mentioned? Because VAT is a federal tax. Okay, at the end of the day, they also want to know where the VAT has been generated from.
Right.
Okay, so now when you look at other for the physical businesses, it is much easier, right? When it comes to the e-commerce business, that's where they are basically now saying that, okay, where is the consumption taking place?
Correct.
So which emirate? So that's why for the larger e-commerce businesses over 100 million, they are requiring them to specify which emirate the transaction has happened. Because earlier what would happen is that if the e-commerce company is registered in Dubai,
Yeah.
the entire sale would be shown in Dubai. But when you look at the consumption perspective,
Right.
it could happen,
Any emirate.
any emirate.
We've got Kiran with us on the line right now, and Kiran has a question for CA Girish Chand. Kiran, hi, good morning.
Good morning. Hi, everyone.
Hi. CA Girish आपकी आवाज सुन रहे हैं, पूछिए.
Okay. Sir, my question is basically I just want to understand what are the main things that we should take care of when filing for VAT?
Okay.
The things that we shouldn't miss out.
Yeah, so like I said that you're normally putting 10 numbers, right? What you need to ensure is that the background related to that is all available, whether in terms of the output tax, whether in terms of the input tax, also what you're reporting, okay, as your revenue. Is that something which is tied in with your books of accounts? Okay, so whatever the turnover that you're showing in your books, is it tying with that? And wherever you're taking the input tax credits, please ensure that you have got proper tax invoices.
Okay.
ठीक है, Kiran?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Drive safe, man. Is it still raining there in where you're driving?
No, it's pretty much okay here.
Okay. Enjoy. Also, we were discussing कि what kind of inspection will happen and what all will be inspected जब भी FTA audits सब करेंगे VAT का.
Yeah, so like I was saying, when you look at it, besides these details, okay, they will also ask you for your audited financials, because when you're talking about it, this audit could be across years. Okay, so they'll ask you for your audited financials, and more important, what happens is that somebody has a revenue of say 10 million in his books, okay, but when he files his VAT return, he shows 8 million. Right now it's possible that you could show 8 million,
Okay.
as long as you are able to reconcile the 2 million to say that these are possibly out of scope transactions,
Okay.
and they need not be reflected in the VAT return.
Okay.
But this kind of revenue reconciliation is something people miss, because what happens is that now currently, okay, when you take any system and take a system like Tally, right, you're given certain accounts where you can post this output VAT and the input VAT.
Okay.
So people just look at that ledger where they posted the output VAT and input VAT and take it, and based on that do the VAT filing.
Okay.
But they also need to see that fine, there is a number which is shown in the output tax. If something is not kind of captured, so it is a match with your revenue,
Right.
because that's something which the FTA will insist on.
Right.
So that matching is something that they need to do as such.
So now what happens on the completion of the audit?
So once the audit is completed, within 10 business days, they will issue an assessment report.
Okay.
Okay, like you give an exam. So
Like
the exam
we go
result,
for vehicle inspection, the
Yeah.
assessment report comes. Yeah.
So they would come, they would come up with the assessment report, and in case of any kind of non-compliance, whether in terms of you not followed the procedure, way in terms of filing the VAT returns. See, if not filing the VAT returns is now all automated.
Correct.
So if your due date is 28th, you don't file on 28th, you go on 29th and file, you would get the fine automatically, right? But if the whatever you have filed, they are less, okay, and their focus obviously in case of any audits is to see whether there is any slippage. The slippage could be from a perspective of revenue which is lower, or you have claimed more input tax than you should have claimed.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so they come up with the assessment period as such.
All right. So we have a caller on hold with us.
Rashid, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
CA Girish से आप बात कर सकते हैं.
जी. Actually, my question is when we are filing the VAT, I'm not filing it by Emirates wise, the output VAT. So is there a problem, or should I mention Emirates wise?
No, ideally you should be filing it emirate wise, okay. But in case if that is not basically done, you have a choice of basically doing what is called as a voluntary disclosure, and you could choose to correct, in terms of what you have filed.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
All
at
right.
least now going forward, you should file it by the emirate, and again, the emirate which is reflected is something which is where you are, from where you are selling it.
Okay.
So it is not dependent on your customer, because I think a lot of the people have made some mistakes earlier by looking at the customer.
Because normally, what we have done in previous years, actually we did only for Dubai. all output were filed as a Dubai sale.
And do you have branches in other places?
No, we have in Dubai only, but we are selling to all Emirates.
No, I think that should be okay. This reference of e-commerce is a different reference. You are having physical sales, right?
Yeah, we have online sales as well.
Online sales, this requirement is basically for companies which have more than 100 million.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank
One day
Thank
you will
you.
reach 100 million. Don't worry, Rashid.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
आपके भी सवाल आप हमें व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हैं 0586861003. बात हो रही है वैट ऑडिट की. You can always give us a call as well 800-81003. हमारे साथ सीए गिरीश चांद. Now this is Talk Compliance brought to you by Tally Solutions. सुनते रहिए Talk 100.3.
Talk 100.3.
Welcome to Daybreak with Vivek Sanal and myself, Murul Disa. Still in conversation with CA Girish Chand. We're talking to him about VAT and VAT audit. Right now, we spoke a bit about the completion, what happens after the completion of the audit. Now, moving on from there, what is the approach suggested during the audit?
Now, first, a very simple rule, full cooperation with the tax authorities, right? So, in terms of whatever the information that they ask for, please provide that, and please provide that on a timely basis.
Okay.
Now, generally, when the some information is asked for, they ask for in 5 working days. Okay, which may be for some information it may be a short time or something, but wherever you feel that you cannot basically submit in 5 days, then request for the extension within the time frame of 5 days. Okay, and of course it's these authorities, they generally would provide you the time to provide that additional information as such. But important again, like I said, the full cooperation with the authorities and provide all the information honestly, because
Correct, yeah.
any kind of deviations and all, basically there are penalties even for providing false information.
Correct. As we speak, we got a voice note from Ali. Probably, I'm hoping that this is related to VAT audit. Let's listen to it.
हाय गुड मॉर्निंग. मेरा सवाल टैक्स रिलेटेड ये कि हम एक छोटा कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग कंपनी रन करता हूँ इधर यूएई में, बेसिकली दुबई में. तो जो कंपनी में हम लोग जो सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं वो नॉर्मली कोई प्रोडक्ट नहीं है, सर्विस होता है. जैसे कि हम मेंटेनेंस करता है और कोई काम पकड़ता है एसी का. अभी अगर मेरा कंपनी में 3 महीने में सेल होता है कि 300,000, तकरीबन 300,000 या 200,000, और ये जो हम लोग का सेल होता है इसमें हम जो एक्सपेंस दिखाने का है वो कौन सा क्या क्या चीज़ हम लोग को दिखाने का एक्सपेंस में, मतलब अभी जो हम टोटल हम लोग का जो अर्न है 300,000, लाइक 300,000, जब हम टैक्स फाइल करेगा उस टाइम में हम इसमें एक्सपेंस में क्या क्या दिखा सकते हैं, कौन सा एक्सपेंस दिखाने में हम लोग के लिए आसान होगा. ये चीज़ हम ध्यान में रख के एक्सपेंस दिखा सकते हैं कि हमारा जो वैट है ये 5% एक्सपेंस में ये है ऐसा. थैंक यू.
ओके अली जी, बेसिकली आपका क्वेश्चन वैट का लगता है.
वैट से लेके कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स तक सब उन्होंने परव्यू में ले लिया है, ऐसा लग रहा है.
पहले वैट से चालू करते हैं.
राइट.
ओके, सो वैट के केस में ऑफ कोर्स अब ये प्रिजम्पशन ये है कि हम सोच रहे हैं कि आप वैट के लिए रजिस्टर्ड है. आपने पूछा कि क्या एक्सपेंसेस दिखा सकते हैं, तो एक्सपेंस वैट के केस में ये होगा जहाँ पर भी आपको टैक्स इनवॉइस मिला है, ओके, फॉर आपका बिजनेस के लिए रिलेटेड जो एक्सपेंसेस मिला है, जो टैक्स इनवॉइसेस है वो क्लेम कर सकते हैं. ओके, एंड बेसिक ये है कि वो जो इनवॉइस है आपके बिजनेस रिलेटेड होना चाहिए, पर्सनल रिलेटेड एक्सपेंसेस का नहीं होना चाहिए. तो वो सारा जो एक्सपेंसेस है वो क्लेम कर सकते हैं. अब अगर कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स का ले लें तो कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स का बेसिक जो सीलिंग लिमिट है वो 375,000 नेट प्रॉफिट है. ओके, और यहाँ पर ये भी है कि अगर स्मॉल बिजनेसेस हैं तो उनके लिए बेसिकली देयर इज द थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट ऑफ बेसिकली गॉट 3 million.
एंड ऑल्सो टर्नओवर आपका 1 million होना चाहिए, राइट? फॉर
that's 2 things are there. When you talk about small business relief, there the turnover is 3 million. 3 million in the preceding year and the current year.
Right.
Okay, So then you are not entitled to kind of basically pay tax. Okay, you need to register, you need to file returns. The other thing which came recently was about individuals. Okay, in case of individuals, basically the limit is 1 million, and this again they refer to business and business activity.
Okay.
So those where you are conducting a business or business activity, then in that case, and it is above 1 million, then you would be liable for corporate tax.
Okay. So अली के सवाल का जवाब गिरीश जी और कुछ देना चाहेंगे आप?
बस अब और कुछ टैक्स है तो बताते हैं. वैसे ये सार भी है, बट आई थिंक लेट अस कीप इट सिंपल.
राइट. सो अली, आई होप कि आपके आंसर का जवाब, क्वेश्चन का जवाब मिला हो. वी गॉट अनदर क्वेश्चन. इज देयर एनी ऑप्शन ऑफ सेल्फ वैट ऑडिट? आई थिंक वो टाइम निकल गया शायद.
No, it's a very good question, and in fact, we encourage basically all entities to what we refer to as a VAT health check. Okay, now if you are basically filing your VAT returns yourself, it's a good idea to get an independent consultant. I'm not saying that get us as such, but
you can always, because
that's the choice that they have.
Yeah. Please, right? You can always contact CA Girish Chand. आप LinkedIn पे जाएंगे, ढूंढेंगे, आपको मिल जाएंगे.
Yeah, so basically, it's a good idea to maybe on an annual basis get an VAT health check done. Where you can actually, it's effectively like a mock audit.
Okay.
Right, so the similar kind of parameters on which the FTA evaluates, so those can be looked at. So what happens is that you are better prepared, if and when the FTA audit takes place.
Correct.
So that's something that they can do.
And what are the parameters that as an individual, if I'm self-auditing, I must bear in mind?
So again, the same rules apply, right, where we are saying that the backup for your numbers, okay, at a transaction level, right, tying your revenue to your book revenue. Okay, the other important part of it is ensuring that wherever you're taking the input tax credit,
right,
you have all the documents. Okay, because one of the normal follies people have is that saal ho gaya to
discard.
That is there. Audit is over. Not really discard, but kind of put it somewhere where
जूनियर्स को दे दो बुक्स.
नहीं, वो वेयर हाउस या कहीं और चला गया. ओके, चला गया.
बट सब डिजिटल है ना आजकल तो.
As long as people do it digital,
right.
But like I think even in the tally context, you can basically scan and put the invoices as such, right? So if you do that way, it is much easier that along with the transaction,
you have the proof ready.
Yeah, it is there proof, as such. Yeah. So that way it will help. But generally people tend to 5 years is a long time.
Correct, to keep that. Yeah.
And like we spoke, see, when the notice is coming in, what it has done is that statute of limitation has got extended by another 4 years. Okay, so moment you get a notice, that means you are now expected to keep it for another 4 years. So effectively it is 9 years.
Nice.
Okay, so that's something that people have to remember.
But after filing for VAT, okay, we'll come back to this question, but just after this.
सुन रहे आप टॉक कंप्लायंस, brought to you by Tally Solutions on Talk 100.3. Every Mondays and Fridays ये होता है. लॉग ऑन कीजिए tallysolutions.com पे.
Talk 100.3.
9:35 on the clock. Good morning. You're listening to Daybreak with Vivek Sanal and myself, Muralisa. And currently, we are in conversation with CA Girish Chand. We're talking to him about VAT and the audit related to the subject.
So, right now, we've got a question from Simon और उन्होंने voice note भेजा है, तो वो पहले सुन लेते हैं.
Ji, you are doing wonderful job, good job. We love it, we like it. Thank you so much. I have one question. Normally I have a petrol bill reimbursement. Just nowadays, I get the reimbursement. I just pay giving the bill, but not in the company name. So as part of corporate tax, should I get the bill in the company name or just same way we have to follow? Kindly advise. Thank you, Giriji, in advance. Have a blessed day.
Yes, Simon ji, thank you for your question. So I'll answer this from the corporate tax perspective. Right, it is preferable if you can get it in the company name, so it gets easier. Otherwise, if it is in the individual name, then we also have to kind of ensure that contractually the company is expected to bear the employee related petrol expenses. So I would say that it's preferable that we do it in the company name.
ठीक है, तो कंपनी नेम पे आपको करो तो आप बेटर है. आपके सवाल 0586861003, that's the number.
Absolutely. And Girishji, we were talking about VAT and audit related to it and the process with it. Now, talk to me about failing to comply with it. And I remember you telling this to us at the start of our conversation that the list is huge. The penalties are endless. What are they?
Yeah, so when you talk about these things, there are you can divide them into three portions, right? One is where there is basically a lesser amount of payment being done to the authorities, okay? Whether in terms of when the you're taking more input tax, or you are reducing the output tax payable, right? So all those cases, the differential is something that will have to be paid. Okay, so you would have to file a voluntary disclosure. There would be a penalty related to the voluntary disclosure filing. Okay, there would be the element of whatever the differential tax that would have also to be paid. Okay, plus there would be a penalty because you're doing a late payment. Right. So that is as far as the tax element is concerned. There are various elements of administrative penalties. Okay, so like I mentioned in the voluntary disclosure case, when you're filing, if you file a voluntary disclosure, there is a penalty. Why it is there is because it has not been disclosed in the original return. So that's why on the voluntary disclosure there is a penalty. Then there are various administrative penalties, whether in late filing, whether it is in the case of not registering on a timely basis. Okay, whether it is that you have not updated your records. See, one of the common follies that people have is that whenever your trade licenses are being renewed, right, and the expectation is that you have to keep those live in the VAT registrations also. Okay, so you are expected to file your the trade licenses. You're expected to update them, right? So even those are, kind of failures, right, could lead to certain administrative penalties being levied.
Right.
The third type is a little more serious, where we talk about where there are evasions. Okay, where there are evasions, in that case, the penalties are more severe. Okay, they could extend up to even 1 million. Okay, and plus there could be criminal kind of prosecution.
Right.
So means somebody could go to jail. Where if there is any kind of evasions that is taking place as such.
Right, absolutely. So we need to slip into a quick little break, sir. But when we come back, we'll talk extensively about what is the kind of percentage that's levied on goods and services, and what are the things that one must bear in mind before filing for VAT. Also, the term VAT was used extensively for tourists entering the country. How can they benefit? What are the goods and services that they can benefit from as well?
सुनते रहिए.
Talk 100.3.
Welcome to Daybreak with Vivek Sanal and myself, Murul Lisa. Still in conversation with CA Girish Chand. Right now, we have a call on hold.
We've got Senthil with us on the phone line. And Senthil, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good. Yes, sir. Yes, get to me.
Yeah, Girish ji, आपकी आवाज सुन रहे हैं. Senthil, पूछिए. Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, regarding the corporate tax has been implemented in UAE. It has been mentioned that it is going to start from June. Just guide us, saying how when it is going to be started for the academic year, means the financial year from January to December. Who is going to maintain? Whether they have to maintain the half yearly corporate tax, or how it is going to be, sir?
Thank you, Senthil. This is a very common kind of confusion. Okay, because the law states that effectively it is the financial year starting after 1st June 2023, right? So if your financial year is from 1st Jan, effectively from Jan to December, so if you look at basically 2023, your financial year has already started.
Yes.
Right, 1st Jan 2023.
Yeah.
So for you, it will apply from the next financial year, which is 1st Jan 2024 onwards. Okay. And there is no requirement for you to actually pay the 6 months corporate tax.
So 2023 there is no tax for
No,
the implementation already. Okay.
No.
Okay.
So they have adopted a staggered kind of implementation like they did with the VAT. So even VAT,
Okay.
what you see is that everybody doesn't have to file the VAT on the same dates. So they follow
Yeah.
a staggered kind of implementation. So similar is with the corporate tax. So we would expect about 50 to 60% of them follow the Jan to December. So that's why they will file Jan to December, and maybe 20 to 30% will follow the April to March.
Okay.
Yeah, so their year will
And
be different.
yeah, one more doubt also is there, sir. It's regarding the free zone, because I am working in a free zone company, so I am a finance in charge here, where I just want to know whether free zone is exempted or still we have to go for a tax.
Qualified income, non-qualified income?
So now Vivek is qualified to answer the question.
No. I only know this much. Has the clarity come?
No, not yet. I think that is one of the kind of major pending
Areas that we are
matters as
waiting.
far as
Yeah.
free zone is concerned.
So you'll have to wait for that. है ना सेंथिल?
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay, sir.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, आपके सवाल भी आप हमें WhatsApp कर सकते हैं या फ़ोन भी कर सकते हैं 0586861003 ये हमारा WhatsApp या फ़ोन 800-81003.
Right. So you also had a little bit clarification on how can one prepare for the FTA VAT audit that we were discussing off air as well.
Yeah, so actually you know it's not a question of whether you can prepare. You should always be prepared, right? And this journey of preparation should have ideally been started in 2018,
Okay.
right, when VAT was introduced. So a lot of the at least the organizations which kind of did a proper preparation, they did an impact assessment
Okay.
to understand what is the impact of VAT. Okay, they did primarily, I think this is what we say the ideal kind of scenario, right? So they also kind of developed their VAT policies and procedures on what they are claiming, how they are claiming, right? And effectively, I think even in terms of systems, right, they ensured, like if you take systems like Tally and all, there are basically you can set it up for VAT, right? So they ensured that the systems are kind of set up for VAT. Right, and subsequently once the VAT filing is done, so what they've also done is that all the detailing as far as the VAT filing is concerned, they've kept that, and also all the documentation related to the VAT. That's something that they are mentioning, and like I said, that you need to reconcile. One of the common things also people tend to do is that when they import the goods into the country, it automatically kind of populates into your VAT return.
Right.
Now you need to reconcile that with whatever your import values are.
Right.
So these are all the checks and balances that people need to do, and this is a process. I think if you say that I will prepare now, it's good that you're preparing now, but I think it's more important to put it in a process there where every time when you're doing your VAT filing, you're ensuring that all the related kind of processes are done, so that it doesn't become a project. Okay,
Correct.
like we refer, if now you have to prepare, it becomes a project,
Right.
And it's a project of sometimes of 5 years.
Right. And so what is the amount of percentage levied on goods and services? VAT percent.
5.
So it remains the same.
Five.
It is 5%.
Yeah.
So when you look at VAT, there are primarily only 3 categories, right?
Okay.
Or maybe you can say 4. So one is 5%, which is levied. That's referred to as a standard rated. Now there are where when you talk about the goods which are exported, right? Those are being levied at 0%.
Okay.
And even services, if they are exported, right? Then in that case, exported means you are rendering to somebody outside, and is taking the service from outside the country, and in that case also it is 0%.
Okay.
Then there are certain categories which are exempt and out of scope.
Right. And आपके भी एक सवाल है तो do let us know. We've got Mubashir with us on the line. Mubashir will speak to you after 50 seconds. Stay tuned. This is Talk Compliance brought to you by Tally Solutions.
Talk 100.3.
Welcome to Daybreak with Vivek Sanal and myself, Murali Disa, still in conversation with CA Girish Chand. Right now we're talking about VAT, but we also do have a caller on hold.
Mubashir, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning to you, everyone.
आपका सवाल, yeah.
What are the companies like exempted from the corporate tax? Free zone, especially let's say free zone.
Free zone में, okay.
So I think this is again the $1 million question. When you talk about the free zones, Okay, free zones, मुबशिर जी अभी तक the understanding is that कि basically एक तो होगा कि आप अगर qualifying free zone में हो, okay, and if you are getting the qualifying income, तो उस केस में आपका जो है वो 0% होगा. But
qualifying income is 375, right?
375 वो तो threshold है, वो तो limit है.
Qualifying income मतलब the income should qualify for the 0%.
I see. Okay. Okay.
तो वो अभी क्लैरिटी बाकी है. So
okay, one more question.
बोलिए.
I do understand कि इसमें अभी day to day FTA से कुछ rules and regulations आ रहे हैं on day to day basis. So it is one of the concern about that. So दूसरा क्वेश्चन मैं पूछ सकता हूँ?
हाँ पूछिए यार, 2 मिनट है आपके पास. हाँ.
Okay, great. So the second question is like अभी जो भी VAT auditors या compliance जो भी corporate tax देखेंगी, so they will count the period, the previous period they will count effective January 2023 till the next period, or how they will like comparison about this all this tax and
corporate tax की बात कर रहे हो या VAT की बात कर रहे हो?
Corporate नहीं, VAT की तो clear है, लेकिन corporate tax की बात करूँ कि वो डेटा कौन सा देखेंगे, for the last year देखेंगे या current year का देखेंगे डेटा?
तो बेसिकली नहीं, वैसे तो आपका असेसमेंट ईयर 2024 रहेगा अगर जैन टू दिसंबर है. ओके, बट हमेशा ये तो ध्यान रखना है कि कंपैरेटिव ईयर तो आपके ऑडिटेड फाइनेंशियल्स में भी कंपैरेटिव ईयर आते हैं. तो बेसिकली दैट
नहीं, अभी वो लोग कैसे देखेंगे इस चीज को?
तो वो तो उनके असेसमेंट ईयर 2024 है.
2024 है असेसमेंट, एंड कंपैरेटिव ईयर 2023 ही रहेगा एक्चुअली. नहीं, वो डू एनी कंपैरिजन?
नहीं, वो तो कंपैरिजन पर्सपेक्टिव से है कि व्हेन द नंबर्स आर पॉसिबली डिफरेंट, या तो वो आइडिया से होगा. और दूसरा है कि फ्रॉम ए ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग पर्सपेक्टिव they also look at opening balances of 2024, so which means that you need to possibly comply with the transfer pricing regulations starting 2023.
I see.
ठीक है मुबशिर,
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. कभी एक दिन हमें बुलाना चाहिए ना, सारे हमारे सुनने वाले जो है who have important questions to come to the studio.
Absolutely, and get a chance to get them rectified then and
there. गिरीश बोल रहे क्या कह रहे हो आप लोग?
नहीं
और फ्री में काम करवाओगे?
देख रहा हूँ कहाँ बिठा.
आपकी अदालत.
Very sweet of you to come here again, and we're running out of time, but then quick summary भी करेंगे VAT audit पे. Tally solutions, Tally make your life very easy. Tally as a software when it comes for VAT audit as well, कितना आपको मदद कर सकता है?
Sure. So I think the Tally basically addresses it at the core, right? Where we are basically talking about is that right from when you are basically setting up your system for the VAT purposes, right? So you're able to define the VAT codes, right? That's the core of it as such. And subsequently also when you're doing your return filing, it gets easy, right? Where effectively you're able to take the VAT related reports and do the VAT filing. So if the system is set up from the start, like it is done in Tally, then it gets easier, because you don't really have to prepare, because your preparation is well done.
Correct.
From the start.
And quick summary about VAT audit, what we discussed today.
Yeah, like I said, it is put that in your process. Okay. It is not that you can decide to get ready for VAT audit. Okay. Basically, follow all the requirements and keep, whenever you're doing your return filing, keep all the related supportings, together, right? And also archive them, right? Now, because in some cases where notices are received, it could be even 9 years, right, for which you are supposed to maintain it. So ensure that you are able to kind of maintain all these records, and whenever the audit comes, please extend your full cooperation to FTA. Right, they are reasonable people, as long as you're not.
क्योंकि कानून के हाथ बड़े लंबे हैं.
Yeah.
But thank you, CA Girish. It's always a pleasure to speak to you.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure to come back to Talk 100.3.
Thank you so much.